Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Swipe up 183. This is the show where I share my opinions on current events and likely piss off people with my opinions. Let's get into it, shall we, with this first story. Cops couldn't stop the New York City subway shooting. People have questions. So according to this, there are over 3,500 police officers specifically set to monitor the subway system in New York. They didn't do anything. Nobody did anything. Like this, not only did they not do anything, this is a situation where somebody not doing their job, an organization not doing their job, somehow spinning their inability to be effective in a way to somehow be funded more. Like, it is insane. Similarly to 9/11. 9/11 showed how little our entire defense budget goes to actually defending this country, right? A few terrorists get a couple planes and have little to no problems using those planes to crash into buildings, right? Little to no problem. We have the biggest military in the entire world. We spend exponentially more money and have exponentially more people involved in our military than any other country on this planet, on planet Earth. And they couldn't stop a few people hijacking a few planes, right? Just complete lack of ability to do the whole defense part of national defense, right? Completely useless. What happened after 9/11? They just decided to push all this money to start all these wars and just throw away tax dollars for decades. And now, with the police not doing their job, the mayor of New York wants to add more police. Like, they couldn't do their job, so let's add more of them. What is going on? The police are like the one job you can do where you're applauded anytime and rewarded anytime you're not doing your job. Like, the only time you see a cop being a good cop is when they're skateboarding or playing basketball or doing all of the things that aren't police work, right? But then anytime they're actually doing quote-unquote police work, it's them murdering people, constantly murdering people, just executing them to the back of the head, and then going on vacation, paid vacation. They call it paid leave, but we all know on their pay stubs, it's vacation time. They are using vacation time after they murder somebody. Have a nice little paid vacation after you ended the life of a citizen of this country. It is ridiculous how worthless police are at doing the thing that they're supposed to do. They are far too busy, far too effective at killing people than they are protecting people. It is ridiculous. So this whole thing that happened in New York, which all of these shootings that are happening everywhere now, you can really tell that the pandemic is over because there's mass shootings every day in every place. Somebody's picking up guns. Multiple people are picking up guns and deciding to curl their finger in order to end human life because it doesn't take a lot of effort to end human life when you have a gun, right? And that's what they're meant for. Every person that owns a gun buys it. Not all, maybe if you're hunting, but if people that say they're getting it for quote-unquote protection, they're getting it because they want the opportunity to shoot a person. They'll describe it, they'll define their actions as protection, as self-defense, like the child did who murdered people during the George Floyd protests and then got away with it. With Kyle Rittenhouse, they'll say it's self-defense, and our fucked up legal system will allow them to manipulate the situation in order to become free. But people who are buy guns for quote-unquote protection are buying them because they think killing somebody will be protecting them. It's ridiculous. And this is the type of story that people are going to get mad at me. All the gun nuts are going to get mad at me because they need more. We need more police. We need harsher sentences, you know, because if people will stop killing each other if we have the death penalty, if we just kill, you know, if the price, the punishment for it is death, then that will stop them because there's all this proof of that working everywhere. No, doesn't work. Police don't do it. Police contribute to death counts. The dude who did this shooting turned himself in. That's how worthless the cops are. That's how worthless the 3,500 police officers, how absolutely worthless they are. Worthless. All they do, all those police officers do, they don't stop crimes. All they do, they're there to catch people jumping the turnstiles. They're there to lock up people that are homeless, to harass homeless. They're there to potentially kill somebody that's got some extra melanin content in their skin. That is primarily what they seem to be doing. Definitely not stopping crime. Definitely not doing a fucking thing about this guy that wants to just shoot people on the subway. It's not what they're doing. 3,500 useless humans getting paid to do nothing, apparently. If one of them dies, every single fucking cop takes the day off of work. They flood the streets. Just all of these people collecting paychecks from taxpayers who do nothing. Whenever they see fit, they do nothing. It's disgusting. It is like, what are we doing? And then there'll be people online. You know, I love to go on Instagram, right, to like a post like this, and I'll talk shit. Like if it's another video of a cop killing somebody, I'll call it a terrorist attack because I know I'm trolling all these pro-cop, blue stripe, you know, Nazi fucks. I'm doing it to troll them, and I'm using their techniques. I figured out a new technique, right? Because it'll flood it'll flood my notifications, and I don't want that part. I just want them to be angry, right? I want them to call me like a liberal cuck or whatever and be angry and cry in their mom's basement, right? Commenting on my post, commenting on what I had to say from their private blocked burner accounts. So now what I just do when they try and talk shit, whatever they say, all their generic talking points of why guns are good, why cops are good, all these things, I just block them. I make my response and I block them, and then they can't do it. There was one guy this past week who like just exposed all of his burner accounts because he got so mad. He got so mad because I talk shit. I'm like, it was after the cop killed the guy. I'm like, oh, here's another terrorist attack. And, you know, and there's all these people like, no, cops are good. Duh, duh, duh. And then I made a comment. It's like, oh, and you see other people trying to get in arguments with these worthless these worthless burner accounts, private burner accounts. I don't know why people get in arguments with them. They're fake. They're even if they're real people, they don't like deserve any attention whatsoever. That's just, they're there to push their narrative, to regurgitate the propaganda that they so desperately feed on. So I'll see people get in an argument with them in my comments, and I just block them. And there was this one guy who had multiple burner accounts. It was hilarious, and he got so mad. He's like, "Oh, you're calling us a coward." From his burner account, because I called them all cowards for standing up for cops from their private burner accounts. He's like, you're calling us a coward. You're the one blocking us. It's like, yeah, I don't want you flooding my notifications. So I blocked like five burner accounts. And then every once in a while, there's a guy that it's not a burner. It's not a private account necessarily. Like they'll actually have a profile picture. You'll go to their Instagram account and they'll have like maybe 6 posts. like a mildly active, but clearly another burner account. It's so sad. Like, they have such deep-seated, like, passion about their hatred that they give that they have to, like, hide behind a burner account. It's hilarious. But yeah, fuck the police. They're terrorists. I'm not surprised. A terrorist organization did nothing to stop crime. Weird. Weird how the police in New York City didn't do anything. Let's move on to some movie news. Let's get away from the actual news for a moment. Let's get away from the diluted fictional reality that people are spreading hate and passing insane laws, removing freedoms, but selling it as freedom. It's really weird how they put spin on everything. But let's move on to some movie news. And now a quick word from our sponsor. Now you can wear The Many Faces, original art by Ray Taylor. Select pieces from the ongoing series of abstract ink paintings. All products made with high-quality materials, made right here in the USA. Go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF merch to browse the entire collection and save yourself an extra 10% when you check out by using coupon code RTSTMF. So once again, go to inspireddisorder.com/TMF merch and save 10% when you use coupon code RTSTMF. And now, back to our show. The Fast Saga producer thinks that the franchise should go smaller. And anybody that's familiar with the Fast and the Furious franchise, I'm a fan. I've recently rewatched the entire franchise and ranked all of the movies. And the Fast and the Furious franchise, like a lot of franchises, similarly to Die Hard, which I reviewed and did a top 5 of recently, there's a point at which these action franchises turn into like superhero movies. I mean, everything's a superhero movie nowadays. It's just the only thing that makes money, so it's the only thing that they make. And even these action movies that aren't necessarily based on superhero comics, there's a point where the action goes from kind of grounded in reality to the point where everybody's just a superhero. You're seeing John McClane flying through a building, not getting hurt whatsoever. You're seeing in the Fast and the Furious franchise, they send a car to space, which is fun. I enjoy the Fast and Furious franchise. In the fifth film, Fast 5, when it kind of made that switch, I feel, to where it went to like superhero, where it went kind of even more, and they keep kind of upping the stakes in every one. I kind of enjoy that. But I agree with this producer that I think it would be fun if the franchise toned it back, because they're getting to a point where they're constantly trying to like up the action and up things in every movie, and you just can't. It just gets more and more ridiculous. Whereas if it was grounded in reality, it would have the ability. It's like they're running a sprint, upping the ante every time and getting bigger and bigger, right? You can't do that. You can't sustain that forever. Eventually, you're going to get to a point where you just can't do something bigger than the last one. You're just going to do more, and then it just gets worse. It's just there's going to be a point of diminishing returns. Versus if they do try to bring it back down to reality, they're going to be able to have the stamina to continue the series even longer, which I would enjoy. I mean, it's a fun franchise. The last movie wasn't great. Vin Diesel's acting in the last movie, the sentimental acting that he does in the last movie is laughable at best. It is bad. But I enjoy there are aspects of the last movie that are amazing. Some amazing action scenes. Some of the characters are fun. So I'm good with it getting smaller. I don't know how they're going to pull it off. They're definitely going to have to rely on better writing and better acting to do so. But I'm big. Let me read more of this post here. The town that Matthew Baloney podcast Screen Rant Neo-Mod, blah, 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 fast franchise since the original 2000 film, explained how he'd like to see the movies develop over the next few years. Honestly, I think, this is a quote, honestly, I think going forward, I'd like to actually go smaller. And I'd like to kind of start to go back to where it all started, where we started. I think that that's an interesting way to go. That's Moritz said that. I like to zig and then zag. I like to try and do something different, and I think that's what audience demand. That's what audiences demand these days. I mean, when you're talking about movie-going audiences, first off, stop making art for the audience. That's not what art is. Don't, like, this whole Snyder bullshit where they, like, release the Snyder cut, the thing that doesn't exist. Release the thing that doesn't exist because this guy said it exists. We're going to believe his bullshit. I want 5-hour-long movies of slow motion. I want spectacle over content. People don't know what they want. People, the masses, like bad things. Like, you look at movies that make a shitload of money. They're not the greatest examples of art in our society. You know, like the Transformers movies aren't the greatest expression of cinema storytelling known to man, yet they make a ton of money. The Marvel movies aren't like breaking boundaries in any way, but they're making a ton of money. People like things that they recognize. People like things from their childhood. The nostalgia, the money that's made through selling nostalgia back to people is ridiculous. And people don't know what they want because they want stuff that's familiar. They don't want new. They should want new. I want new. Some people do want new. Some people want original content. Some people want to be surprised with how creative somebody could be, how different they could tell a story. So I think culturally, we need some nutrition in our art, and there's not any of that. It's all fast food. It's all high fructose corn syrup movies. And it's a bummer. It is a bummer. But let's move on to another example of, you know, just stripping the nutritional content out of a film. More movie news. This one is just a poster for the upcoming Jurassic World Domination, which recently rewatched the Jurassic Park films, including Jurassic World, ranked them. And the first movie, the best. Possibly the only great movie in the bunch. The sequels to the first Jurassic Park were bad. They got progressively worse as they went on. 2, it's so sad that Jurassic Park 2 was directed by Steven Spielberg. It is so sad. There's a couple fun moments in Jurassic Park 2, but overall it is not a good movie. Jurassic Park 3 was garbage. Garbage. And then these Jurassic World movies are basically what movies are nowadays. They are selling nostalgia back to you. They're putting in Chris Pratt. Is it Chris Pratt? Is that his name? One of the Chris's. He's in all the things. So done. It's just so bad writing that it's like they don't care about the writing. It's like a movie about bringing dinosaurs back to life, but instead of using real dinosaurs, they invent dinosaurs because I guess real dinosaurs are too boring. I don't know. The last movie, I think, sets up very interesting in a very interesting way for what the franchise, what this next movie could be. And it's cool that they're bringing back, it looks like they're bringing back the original cast, which is cool. Like, I'm hopeful that it's not a steaming pile of shit. That's it. That's like the bar is so low with the Jurassic franchise that as long as this movie's not a steaming pile of shit, which sadly, the majority of the Jurassic movies are steaming pile of dinosaur shit. I'm hoping that they kind of are able to dismount in a good way. It's coming out June 10th. We'll see if that's... I mean, we're in a world, especially... I mean, the pandemic, according to the amount of mass shootings, the pandemic is over, but also people are still dying people are still dying left and right from COVID, and the virus is still mutating. So it's like, who knows, by June, I mean, summer times, that stuff tends to go down anyway. So June 10th, I'm sure it will come out, and I'm sure it'll do good. It just doesn't have to suck. Like, it's really doesn't take much for a movie to be good. And if these studios actually put marketing money behind the new original stories that are being told, then we would see good movies making money. But they don't put marketing budgets behind those movies. They put marketing budgets behind things that they can sell merch for. They put marketing budgets behind things that they can turn into, like, theme park rides. Like, it's not the movie itself. The movie is just the tip of the economic spear. It's just the tip. It's like, if we can make this movie successful enough, then all of the merchandise that we can sell underneath it and all the licensing things we can do, all of those things will be able to be possible. And that's what movies are. It's especially to get somebody to go to a movie. It's, you got to do stuff like that, I guess. You have to get people excited about going to the movie. Join Inspired Disorder Plus today. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus to join. Membership includes members-only discounts and deals. You get access to the Ray Taylor Show completely ad-free, as well as bonus episodes. You get access to the complete live painting archive. You also get access to every single podcast ever produced by Inspired Disorder, hosted by Ray Taylor. You get access to Ray Taylor's personal blog, as well as the opportunity to ask me any questions. So if you want to start a podcast, you're into art, ask me anything. And so many more things are being added every day to Inspired Disorder Plus. So sign up today, become a member, head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus and become an Inspired Disorder Plus member today. All right. Last story. Last but not least. A good story, I think. Especially one of the rare good stories for capitalism. As inflation soars, how is Arizona iced tea still 99 cents? A giant 32-ounce can of Arizona iced tea still costs the same as it did when it hit the market 30 years ago. The short answer is, unlike every other major corporation, they're willing to not make as much money. Whereas you have all of these corporations taking advantage of the inflation that's going on to make record profits across the board. You have CEOs and VPs and all these people making their bonuses, making ridiculous amounts of money. Meanwhile, the actual workers are struggling to form unions to somehow make a living wage, to somehow survive on the table scraps that's thrown their way from these corporations that are breaking records with their profit. And I'm not even a big Arizona iced tea fan. I back in my 20s, they were the go-to. When you're poor, seeing a giant can of something to drink for $1 is the best, right? Anything for $1, that's what you survive on when you're poor. You survive on the dollar drinks, you survive on the dollar menus. If you got a movie theater that has bargains, you go to the dollar movie night. You know, when rentals were a thing, when you go into a video store, you go to the old movies, not the new releases because they cost more. You go to the dollar rentals. $1 is king. You go to the dollar store, and even the dollar stores charge more than $1 now. But Arizona iced tea, one of the few, if only, companies that is not willing to pass on the burden to their customers. I appreciate that. Even though the majority of their stuff, I do enjoy some of their stuff. Their green tea is good. Their sun tea is good. I think, or sweet tea. They have some good ones. Just tons of sugar. So much sugar. But, yeah. I love Arizona iced tea, and I'm glad they're one company. There's one example. I'm sure there's a few other examples of companies that aren't scared of losing profit. I don't know. I could see, because this article probably gives the brand Arizona iced tea a good name, I could see like Nestle's buying them up and then changing the price, right? Just because the brand is so valuable now, which is disgusting. So yeah, that's it. Let's do some shout outs and get out of here, shall we? Shout out to Vice News, shout out Slash Film, shout out IMDb, shout out LA Times, but most importantly, shout out to you. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.